Hey everybody, I'm back with another video. I know it's been a couple of weeks. Sorry about that, but I wanted to put out another video today. I just wanted to talk about how the narcissistic abuser, who is also a mass manipulator, can manipulate the pastor, the minister, the counselor, whoever you are seeking help from. They can easily come and manipulate them and make it seem like they are actually the one who's being victimized by you. And it's a really messed up situation. So what, these pastors and these counselors and everybody need to understand is that within their churches, they have these abusers. And if they're not walking in the spirit, the counselor, the pastor, the minister, if they're not walking in the spirit, this mass manipulator can come in and trick him. And when you're in the room getting counseling, all eyes will be on you as if you were the one who's victimizing your husband, hurting your husband or your wife, whoever. It could be vice versa, like I said. So it's very, very important for counselors and preachers and ministers to get this information, because how can you possibly, counsel someone without wisdom? How could you possibly help try to fix a situation if you actually don't know the truth? What's the purpose of getting counseling? You see what I'm saying? So, a manipulator, they are like constantly like looking for the next person to victimize. And they will misuse the pastor and the counselor and use that for their own advantage, because they want everybody to believe that they're the one being harmed. They want everybody to feel sorry for them. And in reality, it's you who are going through all this pain, all this heartache by the hands of this person. So, me personally, I can say this. When, me and my ex-husband, when we were out and about, he would act like, the perfect gentleman. He would open doors for me, and just be a perfect gentleman. But when we were behind closed doors, and I would try to continue that, because that's what you want in a relationship. You want, affection and love and stuff like that. So when we were behind closed doors, he pushed me away. He would, be abusing me. And if, we were about to, get into a heated moment or whatever, and let's say we were about to leave somewhere and we're in public and we're around, maybe some people he may know or whatever, he'll try to do something to set you off, to set me off. He would try to do something to set me off. And I was, pop off, because I'm only human. This is not my nature, but it's like, this whole time before we got to where we are now, this whole time you were talking to me crazy. You were saying things to intentionally make me mad, because your partner knows what can make you upset. And a manipulator is going to use that to his or her very advantage. So, we would get in front of people, say like his friends or something, and then I'll go off on them because I'm heated from what you just did. And now you want to be nice? And then they'd be looking at me like, yo, she crazy. Why you dealing with her? But really, I'm not crazy. I'm normal. I'm all right. I'm really a happy person. And back then I could really say I was docile, submissive, ready to like submit to him as my my man. And people didn't know that. They didn't see that. They saw, oh, she ready to pop up at any moment. No, that's not true. What was happening was I was being hurt. I was being disrespected, and it was uncalled for. It was out of the blue. And then when we get in front of company, he's, the total opposite. And then he would call me bipolar. Like, he really called me bipolar. And it's like, hold on, wait a minute. This is what you did, and then you turn around and do the opposite. So how is it that I'm bipolar? You see what I'm saying? They reverse it and put it all on you to make you feel that shame, that guilt, and that hurt. And then they go into the public and they try to, like I said, say things to upset you and get you out of your character so they can point the finger back at you and say, look, man, look what I got to go through. Look how she or he act. That's what they do. And then they're able to, go and say, hey, I have a witness of, her popping off at me, acting crazy when I'm just being loving. You see how that's how they work. You see what I'm saying? So it's very, very important to try to keep your cool. I like one situation where, like I said, I had stopped cursing and everything like that. My ex-husband, he was just like constantly on my head at one time. We were actually, going to the lake, having a little family event. Just, my inner family. And he was just talking crazy to me, and I just didn't understand, like, why was he, getting at me like that? Like, we're supposed to be going, to the lake, having fun with our son and our daughter, and he was just talking so crazy to me. And, I'm only human. I stopped cursing, and I wasn't even, trying to go there with him, but he was really trying to just push me to the edge, so we can start fighting. And it's like, why do you want to go back to us fighting? If we're all right, let us just be all right. Let us be happy. But that's not what they want. So he kept on. And I didn't even want to yell at him. I didn't want to, say anything foul back to him. I just wanted him to just stop. And he never stopped. And I was really just biting my tongue until I started crying. I was just crying. And he was still going. I'm like, in my mind, I was like, God, why are you putting me through this? I'm trying to do everything you're telling me to do, but it's not working. My husband is still hurting me. The more I submit, the more I bite my tongue, the more docile I am, the more he hurts me. Why? It's because he's an abuser. He's an abuser. That's why. That's why every time you bite your tongue, every time you bow down, you're giving in, you're giving, your power to this person. And he's doing nothing but hurting you. That's an abuser. They seek that kind of power, So if I was out there, acting crazy and popping off at the mouth, everybody would have been looking, because at one point, I really just did not care. And I would pop off at the mouth, and I was cussing and all that kind of stuff. But I had to try to control myself, and I learned how to do that. But after a while, you get tired of that. You get tired of biting your tongue. You get tired of submitting to abuse. You get tired of, being made a fool of. And that's what I got tired of. I got tired of all of those things. And, a lot of people who saw me, go off on him and stuff like that, they still believe to this day that I'm the reason that we're not together anymore. But what they don't know is, this person was devastated when I left. This person, didn't have it together when I left. This person was crying when I left. But when I left, I was happy. I was rejoicing. I wasn't, in a messed up state. It was a bittersweet kind of feeling, a little bitterness, because I had to divorce this person. We have a son and a daughter, and I had put so much time into this, but I was so happy I was free. It was because this person was hurting me, and he had those people fooled. He had all of those people fooled until some of those people came and talked to me, and they told me, after I had got done explaining, what was going on in our relationship, it was like, now it's starting to make sense. They were saying that when he would talk to us, when we talked to them individually, the story just wasn't adding up, because he was trying to force something that wasn't there. He was trying to force a personality on me that wasn't there. So, you know, I was able to talk to some people. Some people, you know, were able to see it when we were interacting. I learned to communicate better. So, you know, like when we were in little marriage counseling or whatever, people will be able to see that, you know, this person is really controlling. This person doesn't allow you to speak. This person is always talking over you. You know, this person is going tit for tat with you. And this person is just not trying to get to the root of the problem and solve it and move forward. This person is trying to stay stuck in, you know, bitterness and anger and all that kind of stuff. And so some people were wise enough to see that. So that's what these counselors need to really look into, because it just seems like a lot of these preachers and ministers and everything don't believe that these people are in their churches. And they believe that, you know, just because they go to my church, they're not doing that kind of thing. The men in my church are good to their women and all that kind of stuff, when it's not so. The abuser knows that the house of God is somewhere where they can get so much sympathy from. They can say, oh man, I'm trying my best. And, you know, they keep on coming with these sad stories, and the church is always being forgiving. You know, a lot of times they neglect, you know, calling a spade, judgment. They neglect that. They want to just be loving. So it's very important for them to be led by the Holy Spirit. They need to go before the Holy Spirit for themselves before they start to counsel you. They need to ask God to guide them and open their eyes to what they would not normally see, and open their ear gates. So that's something that these pastors really need to do. And, you know, I don't want to say that, hey, abuser can never change. I did read a book about a man who really did change, and he did, you know, write the book and try to inform people about how this hurts families and things like that. So I feel like, you know, some people can't change, but how on earth are they ever going to change if they never feel like what they've done, you know, is wrong? And if, you know, the pastor isn't, you know, with a strict, firm hand on that, or nobody else in the church is on them, you know, about their behavior, about their abuse towards their wives, then they're never going to change. They're going to sit in church and, you know, get a divorce from this one and go to another one. And then it's going to be all okay. But then when people start talking and, you know, getting the courage to stand up and talk and say, hey, he did this, and this to me, and then this other woman say the same exact thing, when is somebody going to say, hey, we need to step in and talk to this brother? Because each one of these women, they're saying the same thing. And I want to just say women. I know that men get abused by women as well. But I'm just saying, speaking, because a lot of the time it just mostly happens to women. So, because in the church, we're taught to be submissive. That's why. But it can happen the other way too. It's no difference. And it shouldn't be tolerated at all. So I just wanted to get that out there and hopefully reach a pastor's ear that was not open to this before, because then hopefully you get be more effective during counseling. And let me tell you, when a abused woman comes into counseling with her husband, it's really hard to express it for many reasons, because we're not allowed to express our hurt. We're being told to, you know, just accept it and pray about it, which is something I did. I fasted and prayed about it. I was like really thin. And, you know, the man, he's looked at like, hey, he's supposed to be strong and all this kind of stuff. So if he's like, you know, talking and saying stuff like she not being submissive, that's something that they always say. They're always going to say, oh, she's not being submissive. And a woman, she could be doing everything she possibly can to, you know, submit to her husband and walk in the way that she's supposed to be walking in. But nothing she can possibly do will be, you know, acceptable to him, because he's an abuser. He's not a good husband. And this man, he can come into your offices crying, coming up with every excuse. And it's like, that should be a red flag right there. Why? Okay, if he's always coming up with the excuse and not being, you know, sorry about anything, it's like, hold on. He's putting all of this on her. Well, you know, first of all, it's two of y'all. And she shouldn't have to be the reason why, you know, you do something wrong all the time. It's like, when are you going to learn self-control? When are you going to have self-accountability? You know what I mean? So that should be a red flag right there. That is a red flag. So I just wanted to get that out there and try to help somebody, because what I went through for 10, 11 years was devastating. You know, every day I wanted to die. You know, because I did anything and everything I could to save my marriage. And there's so many people who are doing everything to try to save their marriages, but what they're not realizing is that their partner is a narcissist, an abuser. And they really need to get out of it. So hopefully this can help somebody. And I pray that you all are led by God and make the right decisions and get out and get help. All right, y'all. Peace till next time.